Welcome, guys. This is Polynoia, our podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tyler.
And I'm the other one, Michael. Wasn't that nice?
The other guy. The other guy.
Yeah, it's just one of the guys.
Yeah. How you been there, buddy?
Yeah, pretty good. Been a long, hasn't been that long of a week, but
yeah,
it's fine.
I mean, it's long enough.
Yeah, but it's Labor Day weekend. Oh man, the plans, the just everything is gonna be so big.
There's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot of plans.
Oh man.
So, anyways, enough of the banter. Let's get right into it.
Heart of the matter.
We were talking a little bit off the line.
I wasn't
just life and just thinking life, meaning, what is it, what is their meaning? I know I was reading a little Albert Camus, French author, philosophizer guy.
I've heard the name, but I don't know much about him.
Yeah, I heard him on Lex for a few times. Lex Luthor.
The bald guy?
Yeah. No, he's got one hair. Yeah, you can't see it, but it's there. It's in the back.
Yeah,
it's in the back. Yeah, he talks about absurdism. Because dude, I think I've been like a little bit lost. I grew up Catholic. Like, hey, here's your set of stories.
I really forget that. Yeah.
Like here's your set of beliefs you're gonna have. Okay, cool. And then you just grow up with them, like, oh yeah, God is there. He does these things. You pray to him. You get some points.
There's these other people, and you pray to them when you need different things. When you don't want to bother the big guy,
Yeah, you gotta talk to Mary once in a while.
Yeah, mother, she's full of grace.
Yeah,
you got to do it.
That is one of the lines.
I know.
Yeah. You take a rosary once in a while.
So you had to do.
You just take it.
I mean, I don't want to disrupt you, but some other Catholics I know were talking about this. Well, I guess like a month ago now. Did you have to pick like a saint? That was your saint?
Oh.
They were saying they had to do that and like talking about it.
I forget. I did, but okay. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't know what
they
meant
really paid attention. Okay, we had Wednesday night CCE. I forget what it's called. Catholicism something. Continuing education. I don't know. That's what nurses have to do.
Close enough.
CEs. But yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really think about it for a while. And then it was like, grow up a little bit. Like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. And then I think just lately I've been kind of diving into more philosophies, and probably because I don't have a grounding sort of basis to believe in or something.
Yeah.
However you want to say that.
Like you don't have a framework like Catholicism that you already are like structured into.
Yeah. Not one. I mean, I have operating principles that I employ, but like, how to act and how to behave.
Right.
I don't have a structure for the other parts, like the meaningful, like sort of life.
What do I do with these thoughts I have and these feelings I have about that stuff?
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of jumping around to different ones that kind of make sense.
Yeah.
Because like I was doing like Greek philosophy for a while, which is more of just like man, and I mean there was gods associated with it, but like more stoicism. I like that kind of stuff where it's like you have the power to do things and it's like only for yourself, really.
Yeah.
And like you do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and it helps you and it helps others, and it's sort of like self-reliance sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I read Camus to talk about absurdism. Like there is no. So absurdism says there's no meaning to it all. There's no meaning of life. Like in the universe, like the universe is irrational. It's impartial to whatever you're doing. And it's the conflict of like a rational man, rational being in that sort of environment where like you can't derive meaning from the things around you.
Right.
It's interesting. And I take away from that. I don't remember all the parts of it.
Well, right, yeah. Oh, you don't remember the
like
whole thing you read and every detail about it? What is this?
the one story. Yeah. But it's like it's the conflict of, you know, it feels like we have a meaning. It feels like we have a purpose.
Yeah.
But it might only feel that way to us. But also, if that is the case, then just fucking go for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the meaning you're going to get is whatever you find important,
Right,
whatever you do during this finite life that you have. And it doesn't matter that the universe is impartial
yeah.
to whatever your desires are. Like, you can find meaning that way. And he uses the myth of Sisyphus,
Mm.
where there's just the pointless battle of the rock up the hill forever. Yep. And he concludes that Sisyphus is like a happy man because that's his purpose. Like there's a certain freedom in those limitations.
Yeah.
So even though you have to do this thing, like we have to die, whatever flavor you want to apply to that before you go, like it's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes sense. It's funny you'd say that about Sisyphus, since the whole point, I think, was like, this is a punishment. Right. This is to be, you were a bad boy and you have to push the rock now. which is if I ever had a child and I had to punish them, I'd say, you've been a bad boy, you have to push the rock now. I guess I should have looked at the camera. Whatever. More impact.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the kid's on the floor over there.
The kid is in the clouds, not dead, but not alive. Much like the cat, you know, all that.
Whose cat?
Schrodinger. It was a joke.
Oh, yeah. I didn't get it.
Yeah, that's, I mean, like I said, I haven't read any of his stuff, just heard the name before. But that tracks kind of how I feel about, in general, like, a lot of people who, or like, yeah, some people do have like specific meaning they assign to things. Like if they have a religion they follow and the meaning is derived from that, like in Catholicism or Christianity, it's like, well, I'm sure they'd have different answers, like different people would, even if they follow that. But it's like, well, there's a thing though, and then the thing is good, and then I'm going to do, if I do good, I get to go good, and it'll be good. Yeah, that's a thing and a meaning for you and why you would live your life in a way that adheres to that, because to you that's the good, that's the way to go. But yeah, like I would agree with him that like I don't think there's like an inherent like universal meaning that like I think it's more like, hey, you make it up. And like that maybe sounds like bad to some people. Like, what do you mean you make it up? Well, it's like, yeah, it's like importance on it. Like you get to choose, like you get to choose how you act towards people, and you get to choose like this or that, and that can be cool, I think. Like,
yeah. And then, yeah, it brings in like morality and stuff. Like, what do you do with that? Like, because like a religion will tell you like certain ways to behave. Not all of them, but like, if you want to get to heaven or whatever the end goal is for your soul, then you should behave in this way and not do these things because it's harmful or whatever.
There's always some rules and regulations, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there is no meaning in general, can you just go do that? Can you just go and like hurt people? Can you go and yell at people? Like you can.
I think
there's consequences to that, but like is
Yeah, you
are the
can,
consequences enough not to do it?
right, to stop you personally, whatever. I think they call that like social contract. Like,
Mm,
I believe there's like a social contract theory, but I don't know if that's like more of a specific thing. But yeah, just like
hmm
in general, like when you get to that level, like you're saying, like, so then what, then why would you adhere to a way of acting? Well, one way is
hmm
because of the social contract. Like, while I'm in the place I'm at with the people I'm at, the expectation is X or Y. Like, I'm not going to kill people. I'm not going to go steal stuff because there are consequences because other people that I'm around don't like that.
hmm
So that'd be the reason, like you said, like to not do it, but you still can. And like maybe that's not enough for you to not do it. And for some people, like, in their circumstances, it's not.
It's interesting. I just thought it's like the reasons you don't do it are purely selfish too.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to have your shit taken. You don't want to be impeded in certain ways.
Yeah.
So you don't behave in those things or in those ways.
Right.
But like some people do. Some people fucking kidnap and murder people and they do things and they get caught and then they just get thrown in jail or whatever. Like, was that okay
That they,
in the
oh,
cosmic sense? Like, is that okay?
that's a
I guess.
tough, yeah. If it, see, and this is like
But it's
where,
morally, like for us, we know that's not
for
okay.
us, yeah. But then, yeah, that's that tricky bit of like, it's hard to like take yourself out of the equation, you know,
Yeah.
because we only view everything through our own lens. And in our lens, yeah, that's not good. But if you can
hmm
remove that, yeah, it probably wouldn't matter. But that feels wrong to say that.
Right.
Which I'm
There's still going to be other humans around. We're still going to be here. We're
right,
still like, as a society, will be here,
right, yeah.
depending on who you kill. Right.
Well,
You kill a few important
yeah.
people, maybe some shit changes.
What? Didn't quite hear you. What?
No, yeah. I could say it again.
No. Ah, this
People
isn't
like blah blah. Yeah.
assassination coordinate.
1.245678.
You almost got me. You almost got me.
Latitude X. Yeah. What were we talking about? Talking about killing people.
Yeah. But yeah, because like you're saying, like I guess yeah, so long as there are people, those would matter more than likely to those people, right?
Right.
So only after there would be no one, like human person, would then we also say it wouldn't matter, but then it also couldn't happen because there's no people.
It probably only matters inside our minds. Like if the universe is irrational,
Right.
and it only exists, the only thing that's like it depends on an observer.
Yeah.
Like these types of things depend. Like the equation requires an observer for them to like emerge
And I
as
don't
important.
think there's probably a cosmic scorekeeper. Probably
That
not.
could be.
But now that's a new cryptid I'm assuming is real.
How big is that book that he's scorekeeping in?
That makes more sense, but I was thinking of like a scoreboard like lighting up and like just a bunch of lights on it.
That's what all those stars are, dude. You just can't make sense of it because it's too big.
I haven't studied
The big light
astrology.
bright in the sky.
Yeah. I was watching a video today about like astrological like fatalism about like back in, well, I mean, even some people now probably, but it's basically that in astrology, there were in the Middle Ages, there was like kind of two broad senses of what you would do because everyone did astrology. It'd be like you can ascertain things from the heavens because, and in a Christian context, because God made them move. And so therefore, there's like things to learn about the world from it, or that they like cause and determine things, which would be like the fatalist thing. Like it was just about a guy. I didn't finish it yet, but it was about a guy who was like saying it was fatalism, and the church is like, "That's heresy. You're in trouble." But that's all right.
That's
That is
heresy.
to
I
remind.
love that word.
It's good. That just reminded me of that, having the stars be the scorekeeper.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what other? Well,
Okay.
you brought it up earlier, but
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. The alternative in this realm of thought is that there is no meaning, period, which is just nihilism, meaning like all these things that we think we can do, we talk, we learn, we derive things. It's all just kind of, it doesn't matter because nothing else matters.
right,
It's like, what can we do in this universe that nothing matters in?
right,
And it's just this chaotic sort of interaction between matter and things, and it doesn't necessarily matter in a sense that like meaning that life exists.
yeah,
It's just more matter doing stuff.
yeah. It's a very like. I mean, the word is also a human thing, hope. That's a very like hopeless type of way to view things.
Yeah.
Like you like more like defeatist. Like, what would I? Well, why should I do anything? Or what would be the point in doing it anyway? Like type of
Why live?
type of vibe. Yeah.
Which is hard for me to want to go down that road.
It's too much for me as well. I mean, like some days, yeah, but overall, yeah.
Depending on the emails you get.
No, I can't. No, not again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a step too far because it's like, I mean, it's probably a human bias to want to believe that there's a reason to it, but the only thing you can verify is the thoughts in your own mind.
Right.
Really, like you know that you're having them. You know you're having an experience. You might not be able to explain it, but like, is the only meaning then like this experience that you have, and you just maximize on your. But then it's like, I talk about different religions and all these things about like your vices.
Yeah.
Like purely going for like pleasure all the time is like eating lots of food. It's detrimental to your body. Like there's consequences to just only living by pleasure seeking.
Yeah.
But then it's generally seen to be like more fulfilling to pursue like self-sacrifice, through like helping others and like all these like virtuous things that humans can do.
Yeah.
And there's a balance between restraint of your vices and how much good you do towards others. I'm rambling at this very moment. What am I talking about?
No, so you were talking about how the way that you would do things, like if there isn't any reason in things, like, okay, so the absurdist view is like you'd make your own reason. But so like, because I feel like if you were like truly a nihilist, you would just, you'd turn it off. Because of what else would you do, right?
It's fucking
You know what
off.
I mean? Like if you were truly like fully believe that, and maybe people do, and that sucks. But otherwise, yeah, you would pick something, which I feel like is more like what absurdism allows, like the middle ground almost, like not believing anything, believing that there's nothing, but you can do whatever, and then like believing that there is something definite that's like a guideposts or whatever. But yeah, in that middle ground or wherever, you could pick doing vices or having things that you wouldn't, I guess what I was thinking about when you were saying that is like what then constitutes our human belief that generally it's better to do things that are more like self-sacrificial, like to do things for others. And my first thought was like, oh, it's probably because some evolutionary thing where it's like you're
Mm.
keeping others alive, the species alive, like some inbuilt thing that's just you don't, you know, beyond subconscious.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't think about it. It's just an
the
instinct that you have.
yeah, it's in the brain stem. It's just you can't get rid of it. Like,
The amygdala.
and like
Yeah,
maybe,
I think
but
about that too, like aspects of our consciousness, like the way we feel about certain things,
yeah,
like emotions and things.
like
Like there's like an animal root to that, like
yeah,
love, companionship
yep.
can probably be linked to our desire to like procreate.
I mean,
And it's
yeah,
just like
there is
it's just a more romantic
there,
layering of, stuff on top of that.
yeah, it's
It's
not,
obscured
yeah,
by, your conscious thought.
it's not that that's the only thing. It's just part of it, and maybe like the piece of sand in the pearl or whatever has to have like a thing to form around, and that
Yeah,
instinctual
that's the
thing,
pillar.
right? Yeah, but then the other stuff around it is good, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think some people take that the
And
other way and they're like, oh, so it's just whatever,
it's
like,
just
and
that.
it's like, no, clearly it's not. Like,
Yeah. Or we're aware sort of like that we are an animal with those things, and so
yeah,
we can think about those things, and also it's just our condition.
yeah,
We just have these bodies that require certain things or crave certain things,
salt.
and you can, yeah, always salt and sugar, no water. um, so then you can build your meaning off of that.
Yeah,
Like you can then be in tune with kind of nature,
yeah,
your body, the outside world, and where you fit in that. Like you can come to terms with that
right. You can accept it.
and still be sort of fulfilled without a god. Um,
Yeah, that is, yeah. Even talking about, and not to hate on or bash people who are religious or whatever, but just to point, I guess
yeah.
we're just more familiar with like Christianity from our upbringing, so that's like the go-to thing to relate other things to.
Mhm.
Is that, yeah, like that with Christianity, like specifically with like love or whatever, like they take the route of like those baser animal, feelings, those are bad, and they're
Oh
bad
yeah.
because here's a reason. Like, we're going to
Yeah.
give you a reason not to do those, which is like,
Separates human from the swine,
right.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
Like we are this moral being. We don't need these baser
but
things.
literally we all do, and literally
Yeah.
everyone does, and literally everyone who tells you they don't also do, except like a few people. There are
Right.
people who like don't, but yeah, that's the naughty bit of it all, the sham part. Like, don't
Hmm.
make up something like that where it's like you're telling someone that an incredibly normal inbuilt thing that will drive them and they will feel that is like evil. That sucks.
Well, here's maybe like where's the origin of that? So like a Catholic or whoever, generally seen in religion is like you're not promiscuous,
Yeah, pretty much most of them, right? I
right?
think, yeah.
Except for like Mormonism, probably. But I
Yeah.
guess you're just getting multiple wives. I don't know whatever
Right, so maybe it's, yeah,
things that we can verify.
different.
Christianity, Islam, that there's
Listen,
no
yeah.
promiscuity, uh, and maybe that's just like yeah, in nature, if you just do that a lot, you're gonna get a disease, most likely,
Yeah.
and it's just detrimental to your health. So maybe just don't do that. And so that's a instinct in some or most people,
Yeah. And
even though you have this sexual urge, like
yeah.
you practice modesty and just in your own self-interest,
Right.
perhaps.
Well, another thing
Um,
too, when you said that, not only like for like a physical type of detriment, but because we are social, like by nature, that if we're in social units, that if you had someone who was promiscuous, like a dude, because I guess they're usually the ones who
Mhm.
can be the most, in a way, if you know what I mean. Listen,
Intuitively,
everyone can
yes,
be
we know.
promiscuous, but
Yeah,
like, so say a guy went around and got a bunch of people pregnant back, hunter gatherer days or whatever.
yeah,
So then you're in a social structure. Well, then now you've spread that out really thin. So now socially, you're probably responsible for all this. And is that feasible? Can you do that? That's probably pretty
hmm
hard. That makes it, if you're supposed to do this and that, does that stretch it thin of like what you're able to keep afloat, like the other people around you, you know?
and also you probably have other males that are competing, like,
Right. Yeah.
so you're stepping on people's toes,
True.
like,
Yeah.
messing with people's partners probably.
Yep.
So there's consequences there.
My wife, Ugg,
Uh,
and my son, Grug.
Og.
Og, yeah. That's what they're all named, surely.
Yeah, they just go og and gug.
And you just know. And you'd see simpler times. Boy, take me back.
Oh man,
Yeah. You have 50
back
people
when you could
named
throw a rock.
you have 50 people named Ugg, but when you say it, the one person you mean is the only one who responds.
Yeah,
Perfect.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess
dude.
I don't know. It's interesting because like even talking about all that, it's like it do just be human. It's all just stuff we made up, made up or came
Yeah.
out of whatever, and we solidified.
It's you ever think about like the different stuff that we just seem to do naturally, like build, create, like we want to make art. We want
Yeah.
to make things that like I was thinking about that's probably just a fear of death in certain ways because you're building this thing that will last longer than you
Yeah.
and inspire or something, and it's just like it's your subconscious kind of battle with death. Like you're scared to die, so you're gonna make this thing, and you're not thinking about this. It's just it might be like a root
I was gonna
in
say,
some sort of way.
yeah, for certain things that tracks like monuments, pyramids, but I mean we also
Mhm.
make plenty of things like tools that are just useful for our continued
Oh yeah,
existence. So like
yeah. I
that,
was meaning more like large projects,
yeah, pyramids and all that,
pyramids.
obelisk. But then you make the Colosseum because you have to flood it and feed people to tigers or lions. I mean, and
I mean, that is pretty cool.
that's just fun, probably. Can you imagine? Like, yeah, what are you doing Saturday? I'm gonna go watch a bunch of people die. Incredible. Wow.
In incredible, like
Agony.
violent displays.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let's go to the public hanging. Like what the fuck?
Man, people used to be built different. Like,
I mean, I still think they're built the same.
we just, no, yeah. I mean, I guess if, again, like that's what you're exposed to, and that's what the normal is. Like that's what you're around. Yeah, you wouldn't,
Yeah, dude. That's death is hard enough to deal with, like to think about.
Yeah.
But then I just think about like people just being killed by other people, and it's just like, how? Okay, you have a sword, right? How do you go up to somebody who's talking to you? You can have a full conversation. It can make you laugh, and then you just slice them in half, and they're just gone forever. How do you do that? I don't understand.
Not
Like-
not in my wheelhouse. I don't know.
Like, you are a conscious being. You have thoughts and feelings, and you look at that other one, and you think it's something completely different, and you can just delete.
I don't know if it's always like something different, because also there would be times where it would be like if you're having a dispute or over land or over some thing that is valuable.
Even then, like the thought of like
No, I know.
going all the way,
Oh, I know.
it's crazy.
It is crazy. I just mean I don't. Yeah, I'm sure maybe you do.
It can be
I don't know.
explained.
Well,
The
right.
behavior can be explained in certain ways, but it's like
Yeah.
the actuality of you doing that thing
Is pretty nuts.
is hard for me to understand.
Yes. I'm glad it is hard for you to understand.
Oh
Because the other
man.
option is like,
I
yeah, it'd be easy. Yeah.
yeah,
It'd
yeah, I could
be.
do it. I could do it.
Think about it all the time. I run through trainings in my mind.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
John Wick.
okay, maybe I don't talk to you as much anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something that is, maybe there is something that's like lost in those circumstances, like overrides that understanding of like, no, this is like me, but different. And you're like,
Yeah.
no, not anymore for this
Well, I mean,
second.
like that's what they do for war. They convince
True.
the soldiers that, like, hey, this person is not a person.
Boy,
These
you
people
are,
are doing these bad things, and
you are right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that. That's fun. Why'd you have to
it's
remind me
pretty
of
crazy.
bad stuff?
Well, it's good to talk about.
It is good to talk about, and boy, do I hate it. Yeah, that actually, I hate that a lot. It's so stupid. All
And then each one of those people had a life,
oh yeah,
and then they're just throwing it into the grinder
everybody
for some cause that maybe some politician basically made up or
Yeah.
whatever for their own self-interest or whatever it might be.
Or you just keep doing something because you just been doing it already.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you know.
Just did it. We're already doing it.
Yeah, 35 years or whatever. Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah, just keep going. Who cares? Yeah, pretty silly.
And then you're when it comes down to it, like you're fighting over like land. That's the thing that's not even yours.
It's not anybody's.
Like it's just, yeah, you can use it or whatever,
Right.
but it's not yours.
Well, if I say it is by divine decree or the king, which also is divine and, back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I mean,
It's just wild shit, dude.
not to tangent. It's not a tangent because it does have to do with it, but it's anime. When I was sick last week, I finally watched the second season of Vinland Saga. Boy, it's a lot about
watched that
it's a
one.
lot about this. Really good, like a really good season. Recommend. I don't want to say too much because
What's it on?
Crunchyroll is what I watched it
Crunchy.
on, but it might be on something else too. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen it maybe on Netflix or something, but
Yeah,
anyways,
it might be.
yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of those themes of why are you doing this? Why would you do this to people? What's the point? Land grab stuff, like,
Yeah. And like through the lens of absurdism or whatever version of that, it's like, so there's no point to what you're doing,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And you're just causing suffering for what? For like your own personal gain. And you're going to die anyways. Like you don't have to do any of this.
Right. Hey, but if it's irrational anyway, then some people could probably use that as an excuse, even though I wouldn't.
Yeah. Like I might as well just manifest this God complex idea thing I have.
Right.
And just hurt everyone in the process so I can sort of achieve it for a little bit and then it all falls away anyways.
Yeah. And then as long as I have fun doing it.
Yeah. I know it's fun. I love mass murder.
You heard it here
I
first. No,
I don't.
no, I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut that right out and send it to you-know-who.
God?
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but you're, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it could go both ways for like how you could interpret something like absurdism, where you could have the hopefully more general understanding, like, yeah, you should just, if it is irrational and you're trying to just be too rational, that's going to not work out. So instead, just kind of, do good, be good, whatever. You're talking like stoicism to tie into that, like if it's about what you can do to better yourself and then help people and do whatever. It's probably that's the better option, but I suppose you could take it and say, nah, I'll get mine. And then,
I'm doing mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do mine and then whatever. Which I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then it's
Yeah, I think like
like,
a good guiding principle is like, well, I've heard this before, but like life is suffering. We're all here. We're all suffering together. And like all you can do is just reduce the amount of suffering you inflict on
yeah,
someone else
yep,
as much as you can. And you know, you're gonna mess up, but that's the thing to strive for. That's enough meaning.
right. Should be.
Well, maybe not meaning. You don't get a total meaning from that, but you get like well, at least a guiding light.
Yeah. Yeah, you get something to get some, what's the word? You get some, what are the things that keep you from going off the side of a cliff? There's like railings.
A railing?
Yeah. You get a little railing. So that way you're like, too far that way.
They never look very strong, gotta say.
They really don't. They don't look strong enough.
What, some wooden posts and like a piece of aluminum foil? That's not stopping my car.
The thing I put for my roast in the oven.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that. Obviously, there are a lot of flavors and like kind of within, if we're calling these the three main sort of ways you could view meaning or purpose or insert adjective here for life.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose then that's all the room for all the wacky, not wacky, that's the wrong term, but I was thinking of more things that I think are wacky, sort of like guiding beliefs or principles or things that, because like even within, like, okay, so talking about, I was thinking about Vikings. Oh, I was thinking about Vinland Saga. Although this isn't what they talk about, this is more like knights, you know, in medieval times or whatever, or the stereotypical thing. Point is, what I'm rambling now. It's my turn to ramble. Is that there are also little things that guide people in a similar way, like valor or things that like the warrior code or like
Yeah, the code.
stuff. There are like little things that do that rather than big things too, that fit within those, you know, the big three. There's like all these like subsets of like things that people can find or like attract them to have some sort of guide that they follow, whatever that is, you know. This is how this makes sense to me. This is how I'm gonna like ride, type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, that is interesting. Like it's like almost like a religion, but not.
yeah.
Um
Not as like fleshed out and broad, and you know, or some of
yeah,
them.
like you have this role in the society and this is how you behave in this role.
Yeah.
Like a warrior's code,
Yep.
you know, a samurai or something.
Yeah.
You have certain principles like an honorable death, and it looks like this. This is how you kill in a honorable way.
Right.
Like you respect the victim.
You respect them when you take their life from them.
Because you know that they are also you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not making that up.
No, I
but
think that's yeah.
like you give them the warrior's death if they ask for it. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
Whatever that looks like.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that would suck, dude. To be a warrior. Oh man.
You would either not be one for very long, or you'd be one for long, and that would also suck.
Yep. God, the deepest sympathy for those people.
Just, I mean, everyone. I mean, a lot of people have it rough now, but I mean, everyone had it rough in comparison
Oh yeah.
in any time in the past.
Yeah.
They weren't talking on little light screens to people like a continent away. Like
They weren't manifesting every desire within 3 to 5 business days from that little device.
sometimes the same day if you're in the right area.
Oh yeah, I
Like-
do that all the time.
Like, yeah, insane. Oh man, I kind of want a little bit of sugar. I'll go to the cabinet and get candy. like,
Or
like,
just like, yeah, I think I was hearing like stories or like something about like post World War II Russia, like communism, and just somebody coming over and seeing like a grocery store in the US and like just the crazy comparison in existence just in that
oh,
alone.
I'm sure.
Like you
Yeah.
have all of the fruits right here. You have like shelf stable things,
Yeah. You
like a
don't go to
lot
like
of them.
you don't go to like the market and just see what's there and
Yeah.
like who's
And just
selling
hope you get
stuff.
something.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
mm, it is wacky. It is wacky.
And it's fucking fragile too.
Yeah, I mean, we got
It's
a taste
so
of it the other
fragile.
year,
Yeah.
a little bit of
COVID,
fragility. There's
you know.
I'll send you this later offline. No, but there's a good video I was watching. Obviously don't agree with everything everyone says all the time.
You'd be crazy
Or
to.
do I? But they had an interesting take on like they were talking about climate. But they were talking about how their sort of idea of like
Excuse me.
how the main I didn't even hear anything.
Good.
About how the main sort of thing we'll see with climate they think is like they just kept calling it like precarity. Like things will become more precarious for more people, like your situation will be more precarious than it was previously, like the
Mm-hmm.
fragility, like
Mm-hmm.
sort of yeah, you don't recognize how fragile things are, how tenuous, and then if something disrupts that, you're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I didn't even think that
Yeah.
it could have been that way because I'm so used to
Like
it.
let's let's build all of our houses on the coast.
Hey, come on.
And yeah, in your little relatively short lifetime or like a few generations, you might not have problems. But routinely, this place has problems.
Has some
There
problems.
was climate change is interesting because I think a lot of interesting points that are debatable get sucked up into one side or the other,
Yeah.
whereas like they should be
Yep.
kind of treated independently.
Yeah.
But like one thing I heard there, some people are going back and forth about was like the climate disasters that we experience, or like the weather disasters and natural disasters. Is what I'm thinking
Yeah. Yeah.
of. Like a place in like Florida, let's say. I'm making stuff up right here,
No,
but
yeah. So
like
hypothetically, yeah.
like the wetlands which you couldn't build on or something, they then fix them up, they make it sort of buildable, they do some, you know, some changes to the environment, and then you make it work, and then something rolls through and it kind of it destroys a lot of the shit that was there. Like you shouldn't be building there.
Right.
A
You
Just
just
like
shouldn't do
we're
it.
building
Yeah.
we're building things in places where there are weather events that will destroy them,
I mean, even stuff
and we
like
just shouldn't.
Vegas, like
Yeah,
build your city where you have to pump in like all of your water.
yeah,
Because that go. So what if you can't pump your water in? You have
right.
too big. Fine for
Yeah,
small stuff, but yeah, you're trying to do a little too much in the wrong place.
yeah. I think that's the big problem with humans. Is like they just yes, we can manipulate things, but you know, and it works for a long time, but then it just won't work eventually,
I'm
and it should
gonna.
be more like there's a big difference in like a small tribe of people that
Yeah.
exists in these mountains and can hunt in these areas and it's sustainable and all these things
Hmm.
versus a city trying to move into that same mountain area and like
Expect to have all the modern things
expect to make
and
it work.
right. It
Yeah,
has to literally be the most modern thing, and it has to have every amenity you could ask for. Even though that makes
right.
it like exponentially harder in whatever ways.
But we've done probably a very good job of that
I
on a pretty
mean,
big scale
yep.
we've done that all over this massive country and everywhere in the world.
It's true.
But it's very fragile.
Yeah.
We found out with like the supply chain shit. There's just like, okay, now we can't move anything anywhere. We can't
one
get
boat
supplies
gets
to these
stuck?
places.
Oh,
we don't have medical supplies here. We just, import everything.
yeah.
That depends on good relations with other countries.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a lot of things that only exist or get built in certain places.
Yeah.
And then they have to share.
Yep.
And if, you can just turn that off anytime you want.
Yeah. That's true. You could. So when you were talking about how we have we're really good at doing that, building things where we shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I had two thoughts. One was that the thought of like, now I'm not saying it to answer this, but I'm bringing it up. Well, I wonder if we'll run out. You think we'll run out? If there's like only so much space and with so many people, there'd be so much more pressure that eventually there would be a point where it'd be too much. And then to follow that, the other thought was, well, maybe that bodes well for us doing stuff in space if we're pretty good at making livable situations in places that aren't. If our track record's pretty good at it, maybe that's like, hey, maybe we'll do it, even if it still would be even more incredibly fragile to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. How fragile is it if everyone's super cooperative? Like, barring some asteroid or something that like it comes in and just wipes it out.
Right. Yeah.
That you can't control for.
Right.
How good could things actually be if all these different places treat each other well, communicate well, have good relations, no war? I mean, it's the pipe dream.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
But like how big, how good could society be across the world? And like, what can you do as a collective, a massive collective? And then you have like tiny collectives that are, just little communities doing their thing. But then you have like large corporations or nations working on huge projects together, pooling resources, doing things. Like, we could go to the stars. We could fucking fix homelessness. We could fix agriculture and all those things and food scarcity.
Yeah.
We could fix that pretty easily.
I think so. Like, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but it's just that legwork of having that sort of cooperation stuff would be pretty tough. Obviously, clearly from history, we
there's always conflict.
Yeah,
and it's just these very human problems that we keep running into, like personal ego and fucking just personal aspirations to try to be more powerful than the other person. It's just like,
what if
you're always gonna lose?
Okay, we're just having fun here. We're just having a blast. So what if
hit me?
I don't believe this.
Do you believe this?
Do you believe this? No, I don't. But what if that's built into us, the conflict, and that's to stop us from being able to collectively do enough to do more to escape the planet?
Well, if the aliens did program us to believe that,
the Anunnaki,
then yeah,
Nibiru,
that makes sense. Why we're always doing this.
That'd be funny though.
No, I think it's probably just linked to like animal behavior, territory disputes, and like all this shit, and then it's just wrapped up in this fanciful language and.
Yeah, but what if it was Nibiru and if it was Enki and Enlil and what?
That would be pretty sick.
Come on, man. No, I'm just kidding. I don't subscribe to that idea, but it's fun to think about.
Someday you might. What if they come down and say hello?
Well, whenever that
what if that's what they're talking about in Congress?
Yeah, what if it is? What if it is what they're talking about?
They got some cool shit down there up in the space. Tic Tacs and such.
Freshen my breath. What would you have you heard any more about that? I haven't.
No, I've been like, I'll watch like a news thing, they'll talk about it for a second, and then it's always about the skiff. They need a skiff.
They gotta have the skiff.
Because when I was watching, I was a little bit of the new Joe Rogan with Alien Boy. What's his name?
Which one? Oh, the
Jeremy Corbell.
film guy.
According to him, I think he was kind of involved, like not involved.
No,
but
but
he was around.
He was in the
for the
front
hearings and
row.
stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
I saw him. I was like, "Hey, it's that guy."
Yeah. He was saying like he seems pretty legit. I don't know. That's confirmation bias.
He was
Probably a
saying
little bit.
that Grush seemed pretty legit.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that's the one that's like up for the most speculation because he's
The whistleblower. Yeah.
he's the whistleblower.
right.
So
Yeah.
I pretty much, I mean, I believe the pilots, they had an experience.
They saw something weird.
I saw some footage.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Something.
I can't explain it.
right. Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything. But the other guy, it's like he should be more scrutinized a little bit.
His claims are.
They're like, yeah, he's like pretty legit. He's going through the right process. He saw some things and he's like kind of spooked. So he's like, I better just be a whistleblower.
Yeah.
He was saying that Grush was, I think, put to task by Congress to investigate like black budget spending and stuff, and
Like now.
trying to see if
or
there's
before?
siphoning, like when before he was a whistleblower.
Okay, that's what yeah.
So he's like investigating all these different organizations or things that are like being funded and seeing if anything's being siphoned off for programs they don't know about.
Right.
So they
Surely
made
it
it
would
seem like Congress
yeah.
was curious about this stuff, and then Grush found some stuff, and he's like, "Oh fuck, who knows?"
Well, I'm sure there are plenty of things that aren't budgeted or whatever. Like,
I mean,
I'm just sure they funnel money
when they
into
lost
stuff.
like the $6 billion or whatever to Ukraine. Oh
yeah,
accidentally, just like, and that'll never be accounted for. We'll never get an answer for that.
No.
Oh, okay.
They just
$6 billion.
Whatever. What's 6 billion to a trillion, or Yeah, I know that one congressman. I think the guy who, I want to say he was like one of the main people to like do all that, the hearings. Like it seemed like that really bugged him. He brought it up, and he's like, all this money. He's like, it's like, yeah, yes, you should be accountable for the things because that's also our money too. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know where it goes. Like,
did we talk about this? What do you think? Like the Tic Tac UFO, like what the fuck was that?
I don't know enough to know anything. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I like my frame of reference for that is just so non-existent. It's really hard for me to like, because I've heard people too, like when I talk about it, are like, well, if it was so far, like people trying to debunk it or do whatever and saying, well, it could have been this if it wasn't actually that far away, if it was this far away, if it was this, if it was whatever. And I'm like, I have no clue. I've never looked at systems like that. I have no idea how they work. I don't know what it's like picking up exactly. Was it like, I don't know if it was like infrared, was it whatever, like was it visual, like optical, like I'm ignorant.
Okay.
I don't know enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Different question. What is your hunch out of all of the UFO stories? Do you think it's all just hidden technology that a government or whoever is building humans? And it's just top secret. They don't want people to know. Like, what is it? That stealth bomber we made definitely looks like a thing that's like, whoa. And if you didn't know what it was, never seen it before, you'd like, all right, this is what I saw.
Yeah.
I saw a saucer. I saw a thing. I saw this triangle.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it looks like a triangle. They didn't tell people what it was because it's a secret. They don't want enemies to know.
Right.
Sure. Makes sense.
Yep.
But like some of the other things, disc-shaped stuff.
Yeah.
Things that fly really fast. We have recent, in the last decade or so, new video of like things that are doing things that defy physics that we know of, or as we know it. Is that a complete hoax? Is that humans building something? Is it extraterrestrials? What would you think?
It couldn't be all a hoax in the sense that like it's all made up on purpose to
Hmm.
goof about, right? Clearly that's
Yeah.
not the case because you have people who are like how are you going to hoax those pilots, you know?
Yeah.
How are you going to hoax the whatever? So like that one, no, not the way that, yeah. Um is it all is it all experimental technology? That one's tough too because it's like if some of the things they've been seen to do are accurate, that causes problems for like physics. Like
Right.
that would mean that like our government or whatever has discovered like a different way to use physics like in a fundamental way.
Hmm.
And that's insane to think
Which is
about.
hard to believe.
Right. It seems like a big leap that would just happen. Like they would, I don't know, you know?
But also you have like this I've been trying to like demystify sort of how I think about these kind of things.
Yeah.
Like what is the reality? What is the actual thing happening?
Yeah.
Like you can conceive of certain like crazy technologies
Mm-hmm.
like splitting the atom,
Right.
creating
Yeah.
this giant explosion. It's a bomb. Wow, woo.
Yeah.
But like the scale of that bomb is fucking hard to imagine.
Yes.
But it's like it's within the physics that we know of.
Right.
Um,
They knew it was probably going to happen that way. That's why they did
right.
it. Like they figured, you know.
But like we don't really have I don't think I mean I don't. I don't think there's a real uh
It doesn't.
understanding of how you would be able to
Yes.
do anything that a UFO is supposedly be able to do.
Yes. That's my understanding as well, is that the broad consensus of people we have access to here talk about it, experts.
And is it like manipulating gravity, manipulating space time? You have to like do some wild shit for that to work.
It would
And then if
just,
you have
yeah.
a body inside, if you're going those incredible rates of like speed, how do you survive that?
Mm-hmm.
Abrupt stopped or abrupt stopped. But like
It would
you
have,
can go
yeah.
fast, but you can't stop.
No, yeah. It's not the fall that kills you, it's the sudden change in direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it just seems like too much of a leap to think that no scientists in the common, that we can see, like you would think they'd be closer or have better ideas or whatever, even if it was just speculation. Like, yeah, they do speculate, but it's stuff that's like still like, people at CERN are still
Mhm.
smashing shit together trying to do stuff and they don't even think, some of this is really, not that they'd
It's like
be,
one of those
you know,
little kids smashing two blocks together. That's all they're doing.
that's all they're doing. That's it. Nothing else. But yeah. So I don't know. That seems implausible. But then just as implausible seems like there are beings outside or non-humans that's a huge thing. Number one, that's a pretty
Yeah.
to even if even that were the case, that there were just. Well, I mean, maybe we talked about this, but like that there was anything at all, like if there was a dog on fucking Venus, like that would be insane.
Yeah, how'd he get there,
Wow,
dude?
that poor thing. You know what I mean, though? Like if we saw like
Yeah.
the equivalent to a dog somewhere, that would be insane. That would be
Yeah.
so crazy. And then you scale that up and up to like people or what, something
Conscious
approximating.
beings.
Yeah. And then scale it up more. Well, and also they know a lot more and have like it's just a lot to be like, I don't know.
I mean,
Not like
yeah,
it's
I mean just
impossible,
think
but
about humans in a million years.
yeah, I can't.
If we kind of
like literally,
don't.
I can't. We've been around for, I mean, I guess anatomically modern, whatever. You know what I mean?
Like 200,000 years
Yeah.
or 400,000 years,
It's like,
something like
yeah.
that. But like, yeah. Um, And, we have setbacks all the time throughout our couple 100,000 years.
This is true.
But if it was like a linear projection forward.
Yeah.
Or trajectory
no
forward.
Errors.
Or very few.
Yeah.
Just like no catastrophic errors.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? You
don't
just...
know.
So now you think of like us out in the stars. Not us, but like other aliens. Whatever. That have kind of on the same sort of path of innovation, complexity, all these things that they maybe can do.
Mm.
Like 1 million years or longer. Like what kind of things could they have figured out?
Yeah.
Because we're in the same sandbox.
Yeah.
Some of the physics will be the same.
Yeah.
Will may manifest the same exact way based on I guess it would, but just
you'd have different
conditions that you're
resources and stuff, and yeah.
I suppose you'd have different elements to play with, maybe, and
all right, amounts of stuff. Like you could imagine a planet where like their ability to get anything equivalent to like our like metals is like so slim that they're just not going to do it. Like they can't.
Yeah.
They don't have enough of it, or whatever.
So we could imagine that being the case, like that there are other places in the world or in the universe that have life. But for that to actually be is very hard to understand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
so then what is it?
That's what I was just gonna say. It's like,
you're left with like, I don't fucking know.
Kinda. Yeah. Because all right, we're going through it. They can't all be a hoax.
Yep. A lot of it could be hoax.
A lot of it could be hoax, but can't all be.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem very likely. Do you like this covering? Very unlikely that it would be so far advanced of technology that the government has access to that other scientists seem to have no idea of how any of it would work.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also pretty implausible that there would be beings outside or whatever who also have access to physics that we don't and do all this stuff. And are alive and do all this stuff, yeah.
It could be, I don't know if I believe this, but advanced humans from the past.
Time travel.
Somehow. Well, no, maybe not time travel, but like...
I was like, time travel's adding another wrinkle there. No, sorry.
We're at the point where we can explore space. Yeah. It could have happened maybe in the past.
Right.
And
because
could have got off world.
The vases.
The vases.
They're so precise.
It's technically possible.
No, yeah.
So is it just humans? Is it possible we had a different advanced animal before humans?
Lizards, dinosaurs. I just again, possible, still very implausible practically, scaling it like with the other things we were talking about.
Yeah. But you can't replace it with anything that's most plausible either.
And that's true.
We can't conceive of like what the actual reality of it is.
Yeah, something that's more plausible. Yeah. What could it be? That sucks. That's hard. That's a hard question. And what's annoying is I don't hear people talking. Like, literally, I think that's the first time I've thought about it in that way, specifically.
Really?
Where I was like, or I framed it together that way, I should say. Like
if you have to have an answer.
Yes. Yeah, if you have to have an answer, yeah. Yeah. That's tough. Wow.
Wow.
What groundbreaking thoughts we're having here.
Yeah, no one's ever done this.
No one's ever thought about that before in their life. What I was also thinking too is like slightly different because I can't answer that, so I can't. What am I supposed to say?
Deflect.
Kinda, but when you're talking, we can imagine stuff millions of years. Maybe it's like a pessimist thing for me to think, but I'm also like, yeah, but there could be just a hard limit. There could just be a hard limit on, nope, that's it. You can't do much more. Like, or, you know, wherever that line would
Hmm.
be, there could just be like, nope, that's it. Can't really do
Yeah.
it. Can't figure it out. Or maybe someone could figure it out, but no one does. Like, you just, for whatever reasons, nope.
Yeah. Part of the absurdism stuff was like, you have limits baked in to what you can think about and know. And just because you are this
True.
flesh being that,
Spongy
you know,
meat.
our consciousness sprang up sort of maybe like just from having a little bit larger brain, you're analyzing the world and then you realize, oh, I'm different from the world.
Right.
And, you know, but like you are an animal on this planet with certain perceptions
Oh, yeah.
or like abilities that you can use and employ. But like that's it. That's all you can like do. And there's a certain freedom in what you are allowed to do and
Right.
perceive. But like we can't perceive like UV light
Right. Just
or
can't do
whatever.
it. Not
Or
physically.
microwaves.
Like, yeah.
You know, you can't, there's so many things you can't tap into.
Right.
So you will not understand
Right.
all of it ever. Maybe aliens are one of them.
It's just one of those things that we can't understand. I mean, it is like kind of the view that some people take, that it's like the more like 4D, 5D alien, where they merge like the spiritual, whatever they mean by that, you know, etheric, some non-physical thing somehow, you know. Sure, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sure.
Ah, you know.
UFOs? Sure.
Why not? Maybe they're just saying hi. Like,
They might be.
what if they're just playing patty cake in the sky and we don't
That'd
play
be
back?
nice.
And we don't play back.
You don't have the hands for it.
Oh, the hands. Sorry, we can't have a giant red football cube or whatever, rectangle.
I don't follow.
That was one of the sightings that one of the pilots had, was like a football field size, like red, like rectangle or like square.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Like a giant Lego.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of silly. Also, when they talked about the cubes, I was just like, Evangelion. The one angel is just a cube.
Do I remember that?
I don't
remember
know.
that.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that one, but it's like that one. It's the cube. It's real. They knew.
How many years until we have a mothership, dude? A space mothership.
Like,
I mean, I guess we have this. We have the space station.
it kind of. I was gonna say it stinks, but that's pretty like rude to say of what an achievement it is, you know. But
Yeah.
in terms of like sci-fi, it stinks. Like, you know, not very glamorous. You can't do that much, you know. Your bones go to
Yeah.
nothingness.
Yeah, they got to fix that.
Yeah, that's a big one. You gotta figure that out.
So you gotta figure out what happens when you bone in space.
Yeah. Well, you gotta use Velcro. Don't float around too much. I think in The
Yeah,
Expanse,
makes
they
sense.
have like characters who like grow up on the belt, so like out without less gravity. Some of them like can't go to Earth, but they have to get these like incredibly painful injections to like beef up their bones. Yeah.
Beef bones.
So like I think it's really expensive too in the universe. It's a good show.
I never watched it.
I
watched a little bit.
I would recommend. It's pretty good. I'm sure the books are better. I mean, I like the show, but you know how it is. Usually people are like, books are better. Everything, original thing is better generally, or whatever. So maybe watch it. It's fun space stuff. Think about bones. Think about Mars. Think about belters.
Do they get longer?
The belters do, yeah.
Do they? Are they pretty tall?
They're generally like taller and like a little like thinner, and like, yeah.
Nice. Lucky.
Oh God, if only. Ah.
Longer, softer bones.
The perfect human at last. as it was meant to be. Not on this, made on this hell earth.
Osteoporosis.
Let's try, yeah, osteo. We'll think of a new bone word for him.
Osteoelonginitis.
Yeah, longus.
Osteolongus.
New species.
Love it.
Well, it's probably about that time. I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty long.
we've been rambling, we've been gibbering, we've been jabbering.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was fun.
I hope all those listeners out there enjoyed this.
Yeah, listeners, if you enjoy this, I mean, let us know. I know you won't. Won't, but yeah. If anyone does, leave a comment. Feel free to do whatever.
Yeah, we got a Twitter. We got what else we got? We got Instagram.
Yeah.
We have no followers.
Listen,
we have no engagement.
We haven't
it's okay.
started doing any of that yet, but it's there.
Yeah, no.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Someday.
Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Give us El Chupacabra if you haven't.
Yeah, smash those buttons. Maybe don't smash the Chupacabra.
I mean, he is evil.
Okay, we have to talk about this offline. All right. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.